Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Underbelly Hours, your favorite local music podcast for the Chicago area. I don't know why I said it like that, but we'll just roll with it. Today we have a special guest, not a band or a solo artist per se. Well, yeah, there is artists. You are an artist, but a little in different territories in the scene. We have Brian Christian Adam, who also goes by the Endeavorist on, did I say that right?
Yes.
The Endeavorist on social media. He takes amazing live photography, band photography, music photography, and he's also a percussionist himself and has been known to frequent the open mics in the northwest and southwest suburbs, laying down some rhythm for all you lovely players out there. So, without further ado, we will cue the intro and start this episode off.
Take off your coat, stay a while!
Alright. Woo! Hey! What's up, everybody? It's your girl, it's the boys. All sorts of things are happening on the show today. Alright.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
It'll be a good time.
If you like what you hear,
Are you ready?
you can find us on Underbelly Hours,
All sorts of
on all the socials, where you get your favorite local takes on the local greats.
Here it comes, ready? Sing it with us.
I love that new intro, by the way. Every time I hear it, it's just like, hey, we had a good time. Now it's like, we're not just using the same commercial that we used for when we were on the radio, which doesn't work anymore. But yeah, we're catching up. Brian, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, let's just kick things off, and I'll pass it right to you. What's your story, man? Who are you, and what do you do?
I am a local musician and also a photographer, and I found this very interesting niche where I do photography and drumming at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So some people will hire me to do photography, and they'll find out I'm a percussionist. So a lot of these smaller venues, just intimate crowd, they'll just literally ask me to go to my car and get my drum, and I'll come back in. And that's honestly how I get a lot of my great photos, is that I'm so up close and personal with the people, because I'm on stage with them, that I'm able to get these photos that are a little bit different than the norm. So that seems to be my thing right now, is to just combine the two, and all I'm trying to do is just spread love and positivity through music and art.
I love that.
Yeah.
So when you join people on stage, you're in the back laying down some rhythm. Do you then just like in between whip out the camera and just like, stealth shot?
Oh yeah. What I learned was that I don't know all these songs. I mean, I can pick up on the rhythm, but some of the songs, they either start out slow or that's my opportunity. Because
You're not gonna start pounding away in the soft part.
No, I'm there to serve the music. If I can't make somebody sound good, then I don't want to be there. Same thing with making them look good. Like, I'm not going to take a picture to make somebody look bad. I want to make people sound good and look good.
Well, that's awesome, because I feel like with a lot of players there is a tendency to want to make sure that their part is being heard, and they maybe disregard how it's serving or disservicing the song. And it's really cool that you can put that, like, that's not your priority. It's only to serve the music, no matter what genre or band you're playing with. And then to take shot, you wouldn't make a good paparazzi. That's nice.
No, I would not.
Just trying to get the most ugliest shots and oh, that guy's got a double chin right now.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the photos that I take that are great. It's the ones that I know to delete. So part of what I do is I get to know everyone that I photograph. I get to know them personally. So some people, don't want to be photographed with alcohol in their hands. Some people don't want the left side of their face. So I literally memorize all of this, and I delete all those. It's all the ones I delete. I delete a lot.
How much time do you usually spend? Because I have a couple other photographer friends and never really talked to them about it, but like how long is each segment of the process from like sifting through all the photos you took one night or one session to then, you know, narrowing that down to editing to passing them out to...
What I do is, so I've been doing digital photography and editing for about 21 years now. And what I've learned is that, especially with what I do in the music scene, is I edit it right then, you know, like do it right now. So what I can do is pick up on the vibe or the feeling of the moment by trying to capture like that, you know, just bring out the brightness, the contrast, those kinds of things to replicate what I'm feeling in that moment. Yeah. So everything I do is right then and there. There is no post-production. I'm all done. The biggest thing I do is I wait to show the images until the next day or possibly longer to make sure that whoever I'm photographing, you know, they're okay with those photos. Yeah. So you'll always see me do a social media post the next day to make sure, you know, like whatever I did was good, because sometimes in the moment you think it's good, but I always want to make sure that I think it over before I put it out there.
Yeah. Well, we even saw that in action when we were hanging out at Cairo. You just like randomly took a few nice shots, some nice angled shots of us just hanging out, and then
stood up on the bar.
You just did some like quick editing on your phone, and it was like boom. It seemed like this already like post edited product that you could see on like a magazine or whatever, and I was like, wow.
And now I still haven't used that photo. Yeah. I mean, I love it. It's great, but I need to find the proper context to use that in.
How good are phones now with their, you know, their editing options right there on the phone? Is there a lot to work with now?
Oh, yeah.
Is there, you know, are there any limitations left with just the options they give you? Or is it basically like a little Photoshop?
Yeah, it's like a little Photoshop. A lot of what I do is, I mean, I've been using the same programs for like 3, 4, 5 years, and I use the stock editing apps. And all I do is I apply, you know, these simple techniques like, you know, everyone, make sure you turn on the grid, you know, the little Fibonacci grid, so that you get proper proportions in your photos. You know, take a look at the lighting, the angles, like just all these little things that you can do. And it's not necessarily that the camera's great, it's that the AI editing software, or the AI software in the phone is what it makes it great. So it knows how to blur out the background and do all these wonderful things, and you know, and then it's just about, you know, getting lucky with the shot and knowing what to delete.
Right. It also seems like you also have to know, you have to have the eye to and the precision to know which, you know, things to have the AI kind of work with. You know, you kind of, like if you don't understand basic lighting concepts, you'll probably use those AI programs incorrectly, and then it just looks...
most definitely.
Yeah, or you just throw a stupid filter on it and be like, hey, I'm an artist.
There's also a lot of other things, like a really interesting one is put your phone in portrait mode and then take the photo when the snare hits. It really does work. For some reason, there's a certain rhythm to what everyone does on stage, and you're more likely to get a better shot when you take the photo when the snare hits. Or another one is during the chorus of a song versus a verse, because people tend to hold their notes longer or do something cool, you know, during the chorus.
Why do you think that's the case for the snare hit?
Because
like, is there is it just the time delay that if you snap it when the snare hits, you'll get like a good action shot of it, maybe either coming down or lifting up?
Oh no, I mean like taking a picture of anyone, the singer.
The singer.
Yeah,
during the snare hit.
It's usually tied in some way. I don't know, maybe it's
accents, the way the melodies tend to run is usually accented with the snare.
Try it out.
Yeah.
Seriously, it works. I've had people do this. Like, I give away all my secrets freely because when I'm scrolling on social media, I want to see great photos. I don't, like, I have nothing to hide. No one's gonna, it's not about upstaging somebody or this person's gonna take my job. Nobody can take my job. Like I'm a unique person that does a unique thing. We all are. I just want to see people get better, and in turn that could make somebody up my game.
Yeah.
I could learn from them.
Right. So, it's that philosophy that, you always want to surround yourself with people that are more skilled or better than you so that you have something to learn from. Or, like when the apprentice becomes the master, I feel like that's such a lazy way to end it. It's like, well, then shouldn't the master want to then beat the apprentice turned master now? And then they just keep then there's this
you just keep raising yourself.
Keep raising the bars for each other. Yeah, no, I love that philosophy, and I'm trying to, we try and employ that as well. And me personally, I'll play with anyone, but I love to face the challenge of playing with people that are way better than me, so that keeps me on my toes. And yeah, I feel like I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but it's
that we all do.
You kind of gotta
incredible.
Get comfortable with that feeling, and just admit that what the hell am I doing right now? I'm so in over my head. But
if you're in a room, and I know music's not a competition by any means, but if you're in a room and you feel like you are the worst musician in that room, a lot of people would be scared. I think you're in the right room.
Yeah.
You want to constantly put yourself in that kind of anxious nervousness, and just see what you can learn and see how you can connect with those people. Mm-hmm. And try to do it daily, all the time.
Yeah, because I feel like if you don't do that, then that's an easy way for the ego to really get inflated. Mm-hmm. Is if you're never knocked down a peg or two because you're in a room with people that will just, shred you up and down. It's like, oh, you think you... Okay. Yeah, no. Listen to this. I know quite a few people that could have used that in their careers. But, we can't all be blessed with this knowledge that you're presenting with us. But yeah, how did you... I'm curious to know, how did you start this process of mixing the two? You said you've been doing photography for 21 years? Yeah. Pretty much?
Specifically digital photography and editing.
So before that, did you have experience in, what would it be? Just like film, analog kind of photography?
No, it really started with digital.
Just digital?
Yeah, I got a digital camera, and I would just take pictures of myself, like my eye up close, and I would just do all sorts of interesting things with it, and I'd show my friends and family, but aside from that, I never really had an outlet. Mm-hmm. So being in the music community, it's given me an outlet to display my work and to grow as an artist. And it really was after the pandemic that things really took off for me. This has been an amazing year for me, going out and doing gigs. I have so much work. I'm incredibly blessed to be able to do this. And it's just, I really planned for it. What is that saying? Reap what you sow. Yeah. So when I was stuck at home, I literally just planned out my moves. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go out there and do it.
Yeah, and I feel like that was hard for a lot of people because of the, some people kind of stall when there's uncertainty or chaos happening. I know that was the problem for a lot of artistic people I knew, and anyone, non-artistic or not, they just, when there's uncertainty in the air and there's no well, what do we do? They just kind of, they don't get paralysis or they freeze, but there is a little bit of a stalling that happens where it's yeah. And I know that was a struggle for a lot of people that we've talked to on the show, where it's how do you be creative or keep moving forward in a uncertain time, as uncertain as last year was and into this year. And it seemed like what helped was just kind of having that disciplined let's write it out. Let's create a plan. Let's create at least an outline. And I think who did this? I think I learned this from Matthew McConaughey. But and every day I do this, it works. But I just keep forgetting to do it. I'm so scatterbrained. But like, you will be so much more like productive and have a better day if you the night before make a to-do list.
Oh yeah.
And a checklist of just for that day, and just put little stupid stuff on it, even just to get started. Like, put on the first thing, like wake up and eat breakfast or whatever, or brush your teeth, like something that just the act of checking things off, even if it's little things, will start to create that momentum, and then you know kind of
gotta mentally prepare your day.
Yeah.
The day before. I try to do it every day. Otherwise, well, I don't know what would happen, but I don't do that anymore. Where I just be like, whatever happens tomorrow happens. Like, no.
Yeah.
I got to think about what I'm doing.
And was that a habit that you learned before the pandemic, or was that something that you used to get yourself to do more during the pandemic?
No, that was pretty much during the pandemic.
Oh, really?
I had the ability to do that, to where, you know, like I could structure my day however I wanted, because essentially there was nothing to do.
Yeah.
You know, I went from being pretty busy and somewhat regularly going out to just nothing.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, how can I structure my day so I don't go insane?
Yeah. Well, kudos to you for having that motivation and the what's the word I'm looking for, Josh?
Gumption.
Gumption. Yeah, just the know-how to get through that kind of the intuition. Yeah, that you just look. If I don't do anything, then 3 months will just fly by like that. So, got to get the schedule going. Yeah, I got to do that more personally. So, thanks for reminding me. I need to do those kind of. I'm so scatterbrained. I'm such a. Maybe I have ADD.
We all do.
I think
everyone's got different varying degrees of ADD. Everyone's got a mental disorder.
That's for sure.
Like it's just like different percentages. Like I'm 22% bipolar. Everyone.
Everyone's sick nowadays.
Yeah, when you can recognize that, you can be a lot more compassionate towards other human beings.
Yeah.
To just like understand where this person's aggression is coming from, or you know that everyone's going through something, especially now.
Yeah.
We're all in this together. We got to figure this out.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to get too wrapped up in your own BS that you lose empathy and realize that everyone else is going through probably something just equally as hard and difficult, if not more so. And yeah, if people just paused before yelling at somebody and be like, hey, what, this guy could have, ate shit on the way here, or just had maybe he just broke up with somebody, or maybe he's like, about to get the boot from his job or something. I don't know, there's so many things that...
There's actually something that I have on my phone that I try my best to do this before I post anything or send a message to anyone. It's these 4 things, so think about this before you do anything. Is it important? Is it kind? Is it without ego? Can it wait? Before you make any phone call, before you send any text message, if you think about that, you're going to be sending a lot fewer messages or a lot fewer phone calls. And I don't adhere to it 100% of the time, but it's always, it's right on the, on my phone as soon as I turn it on. And that does help avoid that issue.
I'm going to steal that.
Yeah.
That's going to be on we're clipping this. We got to, that's really smart. Yeah, I don't know how to follow up with that. That just seems like pretty good. Everyone follow that. All right? Make your life better.
And this is a message to myself when I watch this, that I need to follow it more, because I don't want to be a hypocrite saying I do this all the time. But
there's so many things I say like that, like little proverbs and helpful hints that I keep drilling into people. Almost more so to remind me. It's like, hey, idiot, you got to keep doing this too. Just as much as you're, sharing it with other people. Make sure that you're also, hold yourself accountable for what you're preaching too. Like you said, don't become a hypocrite. So when I'm hard on people and be like, hey, get off your ass. That reminds me the next day, I'm like, shit, I need to get off my ass. I need to do something. Cool, yeah. So you're a thinker. You're a bit of a thinker.
I try to.
What are your thoughts on the scene right now? What have you seen lately? What have you seen lately in the scene?
I see a lot of love, compassion, and empathy. You know, we were all stuck inside, and I think we were all thinking how we were going to act when we get back out. And specifically in the music scene, there's a lot more compassion for people. A lot of encouraging, you know, like, and that's a big thing of mine. I'm always encouraging people to do original music. I think it's a great outlet. I think it's very healing. You know, that's what I absolutely love to do. And I don't know, yeah, that's just a lot more love and compassion. I'm saying, you know, like.
You think more so than before?
Oh God, yeah.
Pre-pandemic? Yeah. Do you think that's because it was like the lack of anything kind of made people appreciate or remember, you know, how much of a blessing and a gift like this is? Or do you think it's well, it's probably a little bit of both. I was going to say the other side of it was, do you think people were just getting like burnt out and jaded pre-pandemic, and everyone was just kind of too wrapped up in what they were trying to do? And
yeah, I think a lot of people's egos, you know, just dissolved. They realized, like, wow, at any moment this could all be taken away from me again. So, you know, like when I go out, it's like, this could be my last night. Do you want to be remembered for X, Y, and Z, or do you want to be remembered for being nice, being kind, being compassionate, and playing your hardest at all times?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are choosing
the latter now.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because I'm an optimistic person, or I try to be, but there's like, I have a little cynicism demon that is on my back at all times too, and I'm always just kind of like, and this is probably just like all artificial too, from, you know, getting bogged down by like social media and stuff, but you kind of get that little stupid cynic demon on your shoulders, like, who cares? Does anyone care? There's already so much. Like, does anyone even care? But then you go out to these shows and open mics and stuff, and it's like, yeah, nobody cares about like what anyone thinks. They just want to hear good music. They want to play good. They want you to play well. They want everyone to do well. They want the night to just be filled with fun times and meet people and interact. Like, I think that's something that I noticed as well post when things opened up again, that like the open mics were like just happening spots.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Even people, because usually I feel like before, open mics were like everyone in the place was only there to play, but then post, and still even, you know, like this fall, closing out the summer, you know, people who aren't musicians are still coming out to these open mics just to hear, you know,
just to feel the energy,
check it out.
Yeah,
I ran into somebody who was telling me like, yeah, just, you know, I like this open mic and I like this one, and I was like, oh, what do you play? And he's like, oh, I don't play anything, I just like checking out what's around. And I was like, well, dang, that's cool, that's refreshing to hear as a musician.
And I'm glad you brought up social media too, because I had to learn, and I want everyone else to know this, that just because somebody doesn't comment or like or whatever on social media doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I have so many people, I'm very blessed, I have so many people that come up to me and thank me for what I do. And I go back in my mind and realize that they've never commented, they've never done anything. They just look at it, they enjoy it, and then they move on.
Yeah.
And so I'm lucky that I have this, like, I can go out in reality and actually meet people that genuinely love what I do. But, you know, when I'm at home, but nothing, ever.
Yeah.
Zero interaction. So people need to realize that just, you know, like, just you do you, and there are people watching, And just because, like we're very into that whole instant gratification thing.
Right.
We got to get over
dopamine
that.
hits. Every time a like or a heart comes up, it's like, yes.
It's great to have those things, but you need to realize that, and that's why I encourage people, because I know that there are quite a few musicians that go out and they're very anxious and nervous and they're socially awkward, and I mean, I feel like I am, but if you just go out there and you experience it, especially in these music scenes, everyone is there to just encourage you and love you. That's it. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah. And I hope that train keeps rolling and gains steam.
Me too.
The optimism in me is saying that it is and will continue to do so, because I haven't really seen it slow down, really. I haven't seen anyone kind of, go back to that pre-pandemic, like, just lackadaisical, jaded, kind of just like, whatever. Like, and I'm still not seeing that, which is really nice and encouraging to see. So, and I'm glad to hear that you're also getting, making connections and appreciation, even though it's not reflected in the stupid artificial social medias. And I ran into that too, and a couple other people where, like, this isn't a shameless plug, but, I'm putting out new music currently, and, you have to put that promotion hat on, that business hat, and see, like, what's doing well and what's like, oh, this post didn't perform as well. And if you can't make that split between the promotion marketing hat and make that distant from, like, just your actual, like, artistic person, that's going to be pretty damaging, because the artistic person's going to just associate that post or that video not performing well and linking it to, like, oh, I suck or whatever. Like, it's so easy for that negativity to leak over, when you really should just, like, nope, that hat's not on me right now, just the promo marketing hat is on. It's a necessary evil. If you're a DIY independent musician, you have to put that hat on and just look at it as, like, this is just another
you gotta separate it in your brain.
Yeah.
And by the way, I really love that image that you have where it's in a forest and there's a woman that's not facing the camera, and then there's a picture of you and it's kind of like pixelated.
Yeah.
That really is a powerful image.
Thank you.
It's great.
Yeah, we shout out to Angelica Dulaney, Angelica Dulaney Photography. We've gone way back. She's actually a percussionist too. Wow, I'm not words today. That's funny. I didn't make that connection. You're a percussionist and photographer, and she's a percussionist and photographer, and I both find your guys' photography fascinating.
I know quite a few people that do that, percussion and photos, just not as much as I do, and put myself out there. But I do know a lot of people that's their passion, is literally drumming and
those two things.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think there's a reason for that kind of?
Oh, there's got to be some correlation. You can find the rhythm in a photo somehow. The color, the texture, the contrast, the subject. There's some kind of correlation.
That's fascinating. I wonder, or, and I don't know, but just to counter, could it also be a percussionist's mind is always, moving with a rhythm, and that the photography, you can capture just like one moment, and like time stops for a second, where every other part of your life is like, it's always just going to some kind of beat or rhythm, and this allows you to just be like, appreciate one beat.
One singular beat.
Yeah.
It's like going on stage and just like, you're gonna play a song and you just hit the drum once and you're like, then
John
silence.
Cage.
That's it.
I'm gonna start doing that. Just go to open mic, sign myself up to just do solo and just literally just go up there and
boom, one hit,
and then just sit there like in a meditative state.
Dude, that's is it John Cage? Is that the minimalist?
Yeah.
That's totally John Cage right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try that out.
Do it. I wanna.
Because it's my time. I can do whatever I want with it.
Yeah. You signed up. Everyone gets their They're 15 minutes. So 1 second of it is going to be the hit, and then we'll just see what...
Now the question is, should I do this somewhere that I have never been before, or somewhere where I go all the time? Where should I do this?
Well, I say you have to try it out both. See what the differing reactions are.
Okay.
See how much time each audience gives you.
It'd be hilarious if you were like, can we get you to come to, do that? And, like, do a whole show where it's literally just one hit and then you sit there for 15 minutes and...
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
I feel
that
like...
could be a thing.
And there's just roaring applause.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that was John Cage's mission. It was just to do a bunch of sociological experiments.
John Cage was a troll.
Yeah,
He was
right?
a total troll.
I feel like most minimalists like him are just trolls in music.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they just meme everything.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love that. Like, that's a fascinating connection. I want to think about that more. But,
I feel like if you think about, like, the transient of any sort of percussion instrument, it's very quick. And it dies off. It's just like the snap of a camera. It's like...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Josh.
It's very satisfying.
We should make a piece, an avant-garde piece. What would that be? I think it would be music concrete, when you just use like sounds of other things that aren't instruments.
Yeah.
We should make a percussion piece just on snaps of the camera.
Yeah.
So we time everything up. We time the cameras, and then the sequence will make some kind of like rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Really
you can
cool.
play that piece in different settings and then make a collage of the photos, and that's the art piece.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I'm moving to New York. I'm joining the hippies and the yippies and the artists, the really...
I thought you were going to say the Philharmonic.
No, but I mean, yeah, there's that whole like, super artsy scene in New York.
It'd be pretty easy because you can adjust the shutter speed and it measures in like fractions of a second and everything. So you could measure that.
Can you set... Here's a digression, but can you set a camera's timer to like 2 different times? So it takes can you set the timer so like take a photo 20 seconds from now, and then without me having to reset it, take another photo 10 seconds after that?
If they do, that's a very expensive camera.
You'd think it'd be like a simple program, though.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like you could...
You'd have to... Then you're talking about like reprogramming the actual camera and like recoding whatever software is written into that to like make it function. You know what I mean?
So you're saying there's a chance.
Oh, it's this 1 in a million talk.
Oh man, now I just want to quote Dumb and Dumber. Alright, well, what should we call that? What would that piece be called? I don't know. We'll think of something. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll make that happen somehow.
Should we talk about the bunker?
Yeah, let's who needs segues? Bunker.
Bunker. It's a great
The
segue.
Bunker. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Fletch. Mr. Fletch. Fletchy Fletch. Fletchery Fletch. I don't know. I'll stop. Yeah, he has this amazing show called The Bunker, where... Did he start this last year?
Yeah, I think
during the pandemic?
Yeah, I think it was
all the catalyst?
May of 2020, I believe.
Yeah. Because I think I was on in like October of that year, of last year.
It was about a year.
So I was, doing it when he was still pretty fresh with it. He was just doing the solo artists, or acoustic artists, really, because there was duos too. But I got ahead of myself. The Bunker is a music streaming show, concert live.
Yeah, what do they call it? Live
show.
stream?
Yeah, live stream. That he started last year. He does it all in his basement. He has all this amazing gear, and yeah, it's a beautiful space. I loved how he's built it up in just a year. But yeah, he streams. He invites musicians over that he likes and just has them play a live stream concert for people, and yeah, he's, from what I know, he's never asked for any kind of like money or like, it's not a pay to play. He just, if you submit to him and he likes you, he'll be like, yeah,
No, he
come on the
does.
show.
He does encourage people to tip, and he splits it 50-50 with the artist and the bunker.
Yeah, the audience. That's
Yeah.
the audience, right? Which I mean,
But essentially, yes, you're right. He does not charge the bands whatsoever to come there. It's all free.
which is
Make sure you
pretty-
like and subscribe.
yeah. I mean, that's just such a like selfless thing to do for musicians because it's such a good quality.
It's unbelievable, and it just keeps getting better and better. Like I started in March. I got invited by a band, the Secret Lives.
Love them.
Right, they're
Love them.
wonderful people, wonderful music.
You gotta get them on the show too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they could do their podcast at the same time you're doing this, just like double
because
podcast.
They have 3 feet deep. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to get on that.
So they invited me out, and in March, and Fletch had me run a camera, and I haven't left.
Nice.
I just keep showing up every week.
And you do the Thursdays where you started to do the bands.
Yeah, I've actually gotten to play on there too with Brian Joseph Kuhn.
Oh yeah,
And that was a lot of fun.
I met him back when open mics were first starting to come up, and he's a really nice dude.
Yeah, he is.
I love what he's one of those guys that, like, I don't know, I feel like he's just overcoming whatever stalled him before, and he's just making it happen for himself. And,
Yeah, he's created like a subgenre. It's like mental health music, literally.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and I
It
love
is.
seeing his posts and progress. So shout out to Brian, man. But yeah, back to the bunker. I just can't give it enough praise because it's such a cool thing. Like, you know how helpful it is for a musician to have like a professional quality video of them performing. Like, that helps you. I mean, you almost need that to get gigs if you want to play out. You know, people want to see video of you performing so they don't just, take a chance and book somebody who might not be ready. And so yeah, that can really help you land a lot of gigs, and he's just doing it because he loves it. I mean, he has a background in jazz piano, right? And yeah, he just has a passion for music, and he's helped out the scene tremendously, I think. So what has been some of maybe like lessons you've learned from that experience, or just overall highs from helping out with camera work and him with the bunker?
I learn weekly what not to do. So if and when I'm sure I'll be on there playing in the future, but it's like the bar is raised for me because I know what not to do. And there's just a huge amount of things, just these like little things that, like from what you wear, just because it doesn't look that good on camera, like it's all very intricate.
Yeah.
And so my brain just it's overthinking everything, but like in a good way. I know what not to do.
What are the 3 top things that musicians should not do when coming onto a camera to do a live stream like that?
I gotta think about this because I don't want to say something and.
Or you can make the list longer if it helps.
No, probably shorter would be better. I'm very, very big on thinking about what we speak because our words are powerful and they could affect people. So I don't want to say something that I shouldn't. But something you shouldn't do. You shouldn't be late. That's right there.
Rule number 1.
It changes the whole energy. You're 5 minutes late. It's like, well, what else are you going to be late at? You're going to be late at hitting the snare. You're going to be late at doing this, like what else?
Yeah.
If you can't even show up on time, that's it right there. Just show up on time.
Yeah.
That's the end of the list. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things, but
I want to know
just
those other things. Brian, I'm trying to make it, man. What do I need to do or not do? I'm dying here.
Try to understand sound without there being sound. So if you're used to playing in these big venues and all the energy and the drums hitting and your guitar and you can feel that vibration, learn how to do that without any of that. So like literally just rocking out with none of that vibrational feeling. Try that out. That might be another good one.
I like that.
Like, can you play with the same intensity on the drums without hearing it? Like, can you do that on an electric kit? Can you, like, all these little things, like dynamics are huge, especially when playing in a space like that.
Yeah.
You know, like can you do the same? You know, they had there was a punk band down there, and you know they did a great job, but it's really hard. You can't reel it back. Like you can't go full on punk, but hit it like it's you know. Like,
yeah, you have to adapt to the space and to the room. That reminds me of a really good lesson that I learned from our old choir teacher, Josh Newdane. Amy Newdane.
I don't say Amy Newdane.
She would drill us on, like, you have to practice, like, not just the notes and the instrument, but you have to practice, like, the performance and the energy aspect. Like, if you think you can just whip it out at the time of performance, at the, you know, it's not going to happen. It's not going to come out. So, and I feel like that carries over to, you have to practice playing with, you know, in different settings and stuff. So, like, you should be able to practice that energy, that, you know, performance, that frontman energy in your bedroom with no one watching. Yeah. And if you can do it by yourself with no, like you said, like, you know, playing an electronic kit with no sound, and if you can still bring that energy, and then you're going to be prepared for anything, any kind of curveballs that a setting throws you. I think that's really good advice, yeah.
And it's something once again, I don't want to be a hypocrite, so that is something I definitely need to work on. Because especially with playing the hand percussion that I do, every place I go to, it's like literally just like praying to God when you go in there and you hit the drum, like, please let it be good acoustics, please. And if it's not, what am I going to do? Complain? Leave? No, just do it.
Yeah.
So...
Do you think the cameras throw people off? Like, do you think people should just put, like, their phone on a little tripod and just film themselves and for practice, just to...
That would be good.
You know, practice being in front of a camera?
Yeah. Yeah, the stage banter, all those things are very important. You know, you're there to put on a show. You're there to be entertaining. And your music is one aspect of that, but it's not everything. You know, like, your music could be terrible. You know, like, you could... But if you're entertaining, people will love you and probably hire you. Yeah. And just, you know, that's what it's all about, being entertaining all around, you know.
Does he still put the little, like, face right below the camera and be like, look at here, look at the camera?
Yeah, sometimes we have to tap on it, you know, like.
Yeah.
It's hard, you know. You're trying to remember all these things, all these songs, all the connections, and the last thing is, the smiley face. Yeah, no, I
mean, that was a huge thing when I went on there last October. I was like, oh yeah, camera.
It does make a difference.
Because that's how you. I mean, when you're looking at the camera, that's how you're making eye contact with everyone watching at home.
And people can feel that. Yeah. And you need to do it, and it's hard.
It's like a whole kind of, not new, but it's like an extension of just the live art form. It's like an art almost in and of itself, just a live stream. It's a different, you can't just do the same thing that you do in a bar or a venue, because that has the benefits of a live audience and that energy, and, you know, it's a whole different world, and not everyone's paying attention at all times, and they're talking with friends and stuff, but, like, when somebody's watching a live stream, they're just watching everything you're doing because it's on the screen, and there's nothing. I mean, people multitask, but, you know, it's not like a show where you can, you know, lean over to your friend and shoot some comments while they're tuning or whatever. Like, no, there's got to be.
That is a great idea. Like, bands should do practice shows before, you know, like, have one or two, like, everyone's got a cell phone, so each person can set their, you know, cell phone up, and you guys can go back and look at it and, you know, like, see where you can improve. Yeah. You know, where you can focus more. I'm not looking at the camera, or there's too much dead air, which is awful.
Dead air is no fun.
Yeah. I truly appreciate the musicians that can tune their guitar perfectly while telling a story or a joke. That's true skill right there.
I mean, that's still hard for me because you just, your focus is, and like, I gotta make sure this is in tune, but 5 seconds can feel like an eternity when you're just watching nothing. People's attention spans too nowadays too.
Yeah, they're gone. They'll drop off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, watch something else.
Especially with this scrolling society that we have.
What do they call it? Doom scrolling.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that the term where you just
doom scrolling? It's where you're literally not doing anything. Like on Netflix, you're not watching anything. You're just spending 45 minutes just.
Oh god!
It's like that. It's like meditating.
Yeah.
Which is
I've wasted so many minutes doing that.
Yeah.
And I knew what I was gonna watch. I wanted to watch Squid Game.
Nope.
And here I was, just kept scrolling. Like, what else is on Netflix right now? I'm like, no, just turn on the damn show. We all fall victim to it.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, it's that like slot machine kind of appeal.
Yeah, that is.
You just, what's gonna be next? If I do one more scroll, will I get something that's like really cool and will catch my eye?
Nothing ever comes.
No, never. It's all the same. It's all the same artificial bullshit. And it's melting your brains and it's hijacking your central nervous system and just making you thoughtless slaves to the system, man. I almost turned into a Tommy Chong right there at the end. Well, there you go. That's my audition for that 90s show. They're making that,
Yeah, that's all.
They're making a spinoff, and apparently
That
some people are
90s
coming
show.
back for it.
Probably be pretty good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna
Well
do another,
written, yeah.
if you're gonna do another decades period piece, do it with the 90s, because I mean the 80s were.
There was that 80s show.
Oh yeah, they did make that for like a season or two, and then it bombed, and everyone was like, "Cut this out." You know who did the 80s pretty good? The Goldbergs.
Yeah.
That's a funny show.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for like a cable network
Right.
comedy, like sitcom. That was a good one.
The writing's really good. Yeah.
Curious, what's your favorite decade of music? If you can pinpoint it to a decade.
Probably be, I don't even know what decade it would be, but classical music, like
So you're not even talking
Bach.
about like centuries.
Yeah, because that changed everything.
Yeah. And Bach was pretty metal.
Yeah,
Josh agrees that he was metal.
it's very close to Tool.
Yeah.
Band Tool. It's very close to that. It changed everything. It opened everyone's mind to completely different perspectives.
Mm.
Or like you could also pick like different periods of time in different parts of the world, like gamelan in Indonesia. That's an interesting rhythm and time scale. Or like the doblet drums and the sitar in India. Like, it's I like what helped society open up the minds to think and create different things, and then once they did that, learning how to write these things down and how to pass that along.
Yeah.
Like what really stuck, kind of like how blues and jazz kind of transformed into rock and roll. Like that really stuck. That the passion and the suffering and all that from where those things came from turned into something completely different yet amazing. And it's stuck.
Yeah. I mean, do you think? Well, I have a couple follow-up questions.
Oh yeah.
First, would you cite Bach and classical music as your primary percussion influence, like the way you play, like the way you think about rhythm and play your percussion instruments? Or are there, like, where did that, I guess, yeah, let's quickly backtrack and cover, where'd you get your start with percussion? When did that kind of start for you? And
I was in
inspired you
college.
to do that?
I was 20 years old. Somebody came over with a djembe, and I just absolutely loved that bass note. It was just very cleansing.
And that's where you hit it right in the middle with like
yeah.
the
So you
base of your palm.
Yeah, you get this nice clear bass note, and so that guy came over a couple times, and I went out and I bought a smaller one, and it didn't sound right to me. But he liked that one, and so he actually traded me his. Wow. Yeah, so and I still have that. It's still got the same head on it. It's very, very beat up. It's called Jesus, the djembe, because I would carry it around in college, and people would be like, Jesus, that thing's big. So it's named Jesus. And
Every time. Just
Jesus!
What is that thing?
I loved it because at the time, my favorite band, Incubus, that's what the singer of Incubus played, was a
Brandon
16-inch.
Boyd. He would, the first 2 albums, he would always just bust that out.
So
Science.
Yeah. Got the didgeridoo. I had a didgeridoo at the time too. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for people who may not be familiar with the djembe, it's this amazing. It's just a big drum that's kind of like.
It's like a mushroom with the head chopped off.
Right.
It's a goblet shape. It's from Eastern Equatorial Africa. So it's usually a solid piece of wood. Like my new one is it's mahogany. That's like rare kind of mahogany. Or some of them are acacia wood, and it's hollowed out, and they put goat skin over it, and then tie it down.
Yeah, and I feel like what's, like you mentioned before, what really makes me drawn to the instrument and love it so much is that bass resonance that it gets. Because there's other, instruments that are in the same kind of family, like congas and bongos. Like it's the hand percussion, where the closer to the rim and edge you kind of get a little bit more of a
the
kind of sound.
Notes,
yeah. But I mean, with the djembe, you get that bass, like kick drum kind of effect, and it's just such a cool sound, and it just really helps. Like you could just have the djembe instead of a drum kit.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be working. People really enjoy it. I don't do anything fancy. I'm just there to serve. We talked about this. I'm just there to serve the music. Like I just it just it increases the energy in the room. People really get into it. It works really well at the places I play. Do I want to play the drum kit? Yes. Do I want to pack up an entire drum kit, put it in my car, and no, not right now.
So, did you start with the djembe and then you started learning drum kit?
Yeah, about 3 years ago, I went to an open mic at Bailey Doyle in Downers Grove. Met this fantastic drummer, really good guy, and just wanted to do that. I wanted to see if I could do it. And
Was it Charlie?
No.
Yeah, who runs it? No, somebody else.
Yeah, it was Dave Kelly.
Ah, yeah.
And I wanted to see if I could do it. My excuse in college or all these years was that I'm left-handed, and drum kits are set up right-handed at every open mic. So my excuse was that I can't do it because of that. And then one day I was just like, no, I don't care anymore. I'll just learn how to do it.
So you play on like a right?
Yeah, I play open-handed. I look like a freak, kind of. But yeah, I don't cross over my arms. Right. It's all just open-handed. Kind of like Ringo.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, my buddy who drummed on my new EP, he's a left-handed drummer too, but yeah, he won't play on a right-handed kit. He'll switch things around.
Okay.
Yeah, he won't. And then I try to do it because I played drums for like a little bit, never to get good enough to actually like play with people, in my opinion. But enough to just like jam out like during band practice, like, hey, let's all just switch instruments. Like, I could hold a beat and play fills and stuff, but I wasn't taking it that seriously. I just wanted to learn everything I could to get an understanding.
Yeah, it's always good to take. I love picking up new instruments.
Right.
My favorite one that I recently did was over the winter was an accordion, like a really nice Italian accordion.
That's cool.
Holy cow!
Yeah, there's a lot to that.
Just learning about all the, not necessarily the keys, because it's like a regular keyboard,
right?
But the other side, it's just, I think there was like 64 or more like buttons, and each one does something different. I can't remember, but Look it up because it's interesting.
Some of the buttons play chords, other buttons
Yeah,
play notes.
like
It's hard.
they're like fifths and each row is a different specific kind but if you just
really cool.
if you think about rhythm, you just all you gotta do is just open and close in rhythm, and it sounds so cool.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna. What was the point of the drum? Oh yeah, I tried to play on like a left-handed kid, on Sean's, and it was just like I had like a stroke. I was like,
I don't think I could do
it's
it.
like I lost all rhythm.
I couldn't imagine playing the kick with my left foot.
Really?
No,
Even though your left
my brain is yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. What was that? Jimi Hendrix was like, he just played the right-handed guitar, he just flipped it, inverted everything, like a monster. And he was still the best. Well, one of the best. No, I don't want to start a argument in the comments. But where was I going with that? Where were we? We're talking about drums and stuff.
Yeah,
and
we're talking about my first instrument, how I got into it.
Oh yeah, that was then going into influences and like Bach and stuff. Were you always like a connoisseur of classical music, or was that like during your studies of percussion and learning more about music, were you then drawn to stuff that like Bach and the classics were doing?
It's before I got into music was when I was listening to classical music and world music and things like that. When I got into playing music is when I started branching out into bands like Dave Matthews Band, Tool, Pink Floyd, things like that. So just really diversifying.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it seems like maybe because of that, you were drawn to these bands, because the bands you listed, the percussion is very like melodic. It's like it's a very melodic part of the song. At least, especially with my more experience with like Incubus, you know, that drummer, like you can almost like hum those beat patterns he's doing.
Yeah,
a lot of the songs.
That's where I want to get to where I can play a melody with percussion. That would be a fun goal.
Do you think?
Because I know Danny Carey does that in Tool. He's able to play the rhythm and the melody at the same time. That's why they call him the Octopus.
What a nickname to be bestowed upon. Yeah, how then have you dabbled in any I feel like this is a lame term, but like, you know, world percussion instruments from like Eastern music and stuff? Like, have you dabbled in those kind of rhythms? Because those I know are like I really they'll like break your brain if you're always just used to thinking in 4/4.
Yeah, I've owned a pair of doblet drums, several udus, which is a really interesting. It's it's a ceramic drum with two holes, and you're literally just displacing the air, and it makes these interesting like whoop, whoop noises.
Wow.
I can't really.
Yeah.
Darabukas from the Middle East, or I borrowed a friend's sitar once. That was amazing. The accordion, which we talked about, like it's all music to me. I want a Jew's harp, like everything.
Jew's harp, that's one where it's like one like you put it like in your teeth or something.
Yeah, you put it in front of your mouth. I think if I'm not mistaken, that's one of the few instruments that's cross-culturally found all around the world, like from archaeological, where so in all parts of the world. Same thing with the drum. So,
dude, that's fascinating.
Gotta love the universality of the human condition.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like music was invented before fire. I mean, it's just in nature, right? You know, birds sing. Birds came before humans. It was like, it's not. Yeah, music isn't really like a human thing as much as it's just a universal, like, very true to the definition, universal thing.
Insects make music.
Yeah.
Birds.
Like,
elephants.
Everything. There's probably music in space somehow. somewhere. I know there's no sound in space, but I mean, there's got to be some kind of like different plane or dimension or whatever that there's got to be something that's like.
Things still resonate.
Yeah. Like when something goes supernova.
Everything vibrates.
Like, yeah. There's frequencies. There's resonances. Ah, man, I want to just go to Woodstock and be a hippie. Ponder the universe, man. But no, I feel like yeah, you. I don't know. You're very. How do I phrase this without being like my hippie dippy self? I appreciate how like in tune to everything you are. Like without being a hippie, you're just so. It's refreshing to come across where you're not really thinking about yourself really ever, unless it's trying to grow more and learn more. You're always thinking about, how to service the song, how to help people along, how to learn more, how to just make the universe a better place.
I have a quote for that.
Yeah.
It's the Endeavorist quote. It's, I'm everything to everyone, nothing to no one, so I can be something to someone someday.
Dang, you with these proverbs, man. We got so many quotes from this episode. That's beautiful. I love philosophies like that. Well, shit. Do you read like philosophers and stuff, or do you just like you're just a thinker and you?
I used to. Yeah, I'm
Dabble.
very into the Tao Te Ching. Love reading the Bible, the Quran. Just trying to find these, once again, going back to the universality of the human condition, try to find out, like, what's the same between this book, and why has it survived so many thousands of years? Like, some books you could write this amazing book, no one cares about it. How did this particular one, how was it transmitted through culture over time? Those kinds of things.
Yeah. And there's so much to learn from those too. Like there's so much to learn from the past. I feel like people are neglecting that. Mm-hmm. Same with, music. Musicians can learn so much from studying classical music and keep going back in time and studying different genres, even from the 60s, 70s, 80s, just immersing yourself into all potential avenues, trying to discover why things worked in that time, maybe why it fizzled out, maybe why it persisted, where it can be thriving today still. I feel like, that's a benefit to, like, all musicians, is just to... Because, we all know those musicians where they just listen to this genre or these couple genres or these few bands and that's it, and then you hear their music and it's like, well, yeah,
it sounds like
exactly like that, and it's not really building on it at all. It's really just kind of like a mimicry, and I think what catches people, my advice to musicians and to myself, so I can remind myself tomorrow, like what catches people's attention is not necessarily what they heard before. I mean, unless you're just like in the top 40 pop charts, then you just want the same thing. But people who are actually actively listening to music, they want to hear something that's at least somewhat fresh or original or interesting, something they haven't heard before. Obviously, they're going to hear influences in music and like, oh, this guy sounds a little bit like this and this and that, but it should still be different enough and distinct enough where it's that's him.
People want to hear growth too.
Yeah. Like my favorite bands grow over time. There's very few bands that like stay within the same soundscape their entire career.
Yeah, then they no longer they're no longer relevant.
Right. So
they become stale and they fade away.
Well, don't fade away, people. Keep growing, keep learning.
Always. Like
Brian is. I mean,
do it daily.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see your growth in photography and drumming, and you got a lot on your plate. You said you played it with like 16. You're playing actively with 16.
Yeah, it's
kinda
really
like whenever
like
they call you up. It's
unlimited. Yeah.
That's awesome. And well, we could get into that, but I feel like we should wrap it up. We're nearing a bit of a good length for an episode. I always run a little bit longer without Adela. I just love talking. I just, I unlike her, I kind of hate structure. I like open, just like, let's talk about anything, man. But and here, Brian had to come in and be like, we should probably talk about the bunker now. He was like, yeah, sorry. But to kind of wrap things up, I'm super, like, I love your work. I love your photography.
Thank you very much. I'm very blessed to be able to do this.
Yeah, people should really check out the Endeavorist. Find you on Facebook, and this guy does amazing work. So if you need photography for any kind of live show, or you need a percussionist or a drummer for anything, Brian is your man. I mean,
and I've got a new thing. I'm doing discounts. So if you write original music, I will give you a discount on photography.
Hey, look at that! Look at that! You're such a good dude. Such a good dude, man.
Thank you.
Dude, you're so good, dude. But yeah, you heard him. I mean, hit him up. Check out his work. It's really nice. I mean, you capture so many amazing moments, and you brighten up the picture. I feel like we should maybe throw up some in the video.
Yeah,
for some clips. Just pop them up there if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Please do.
And be sure to follow his pages again at the Endeavorist on Instagram. And is there a Facebook page for the Endeavorist? Or
there
is.
Is.
You?
Yeah, there is. I just basically I just tag myself. I tag the Endeavorist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily post from the Endeavorist. Sometimes once a month I just show all the photos.
Right.
But
a little compilation.
I basically turned myself into a brand. So my name and my moniker, the Endeavorist, is kind of just synonymous.
Yeah. Very cool. Do you have anything that you'd like to shout out that you're working on upcoming? Any like shows you're a part of, or?
When is this going to be aired?
This will be
a week from Tuesday.
A week from Tuesday.
A week from Tuesday. Come to Banging Gavel. I'll be playing, weather permitting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's October 29th with Jake Drace and Dave. I can't remember his last name right now. That's going to be a great show. It's a really awesome venue. They have wonderful beers. It's just a really cool place. We'll be dressing up. That's... also White Rabbit Object, who I met on the bunker.
Right.
They're going to be playing at Brower House. I'm going to be doing photography for them.
Nice.
I think she sounds like Fiona Apple. I think it's great. Original music, so Brower House. What is that? 8 o'clock. Lombard. Be there.
Nice. And where can people find you at, like, the open mics around? What open mics do you frequent?
So,
if people want to contact you and meet you in person.
Yeah, I prefer people maybe in person. You can come to Johnny's Blitz in downtown Westmont.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there every Monday, 7 o'clock. It's my office for the great acoustics, great lighting, so it's perfect to do a photo shoot right then and there. And then also shout out to the studio in Lockport, Laura. We love you. Everything that she does is wonderful. I've met so many amazing people there. So definitely check her out. That's in downtown Lockport, Illinois.
And do they have open mics there?
Yeah, they have open mics on Thursday and most Sundays. What I particularly like about what they do is they have a different host pretty much every time, or they rotate between like 4 or 5 different hosts, so you get a completely different mix of music, of genres, of people. Sometimes it's acoustic, sometimes it's full band, blues, folk, everything.
That's awesome. Well, you heard it, people. You know where he's at. You know where to find him. Check him out. Give him some love. Hit him up for some awesome work, you will not regret it or be disappointed or any of those negative things. Because, I mean, how can you be negative with this awesome, just bubbling optimism of a man that you have here? I mean, who else would you want to work with? Come on. All right, I think I've sold you enough.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Dude, thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for chatting with me. It's been a fun time, a fun conversation, and yeah, let's get you back on sometime. Love to have
Definitely.
you again.
Would love to. Thank you.
Well, folks, I think that does it for another episode of the Underbelly Hours. Adela will be back next week, so if you got sick of my ugly mug or stupid voice, then fret not. She will return in all of her glory. Last time I checked, she did win against the Crusaders that I mentioned last week that she was fighting against. The aliens kind of, gave her a rough time, but she managed. So peace treaty coming soon with that. I'm sure she'll update all of us on that next episode. So stick around while I retire this bit and sign off. Thanks for sticking around, and thanks for supporting local music and live music and original music. You guys are the best. I'm Dan.
I'm Brian.
And this has been another episode of the Underbelly Hours in my basement. Bye.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, it's the boys. All sorts of things are happening on the show today.
Welcome to the show.
It'll be a good time.
If you like what you hear,
Are you ready?
you can find us on Underbelly Hours,
All sorts of
on all the socials, where you get your favorite local takes on the local greats.
Here it comes, ready? Sing it with us.